Keeping consumed by rage up can be quite a pain as single-minded fury, and it's not for the reasons most people would expect. It's not that you are rage starved, you're actually drowning in rage, which is a strange problem to have. How are we gonna tackle this and up your DPS? Well, let's talk about what most people are thinking and explain how that's wrong. Maybe you're a DPS player and you've decided that what you want your priority to be is, when I'm capped on rage, I'm going to do a heroic strike because I'm a rational person and I want to make sure that I can get off as many hamstrings as possible. So I'm only going to do a heroic strike when I'm fairly certain I can't get under 80 rage. And maybe you're thinking with the hamstring, well, I do want to use this for a lot of Wind Furies, but if I were to cast this at like 70 rage, then I'd go to 60 and I might miss out on consumed by rage. So I'm only going to use it at 80 rage or above. However, thinking like that and being smart will actually hurt you, because if you decide to instead be irresponsible and just hit hamstring all the time, you'd actually do just a little bit more damage than using your brain, which is funny. And maybe you're thinking, well, maybe using part of my brain would beat being a brainlet. And you would be wrong. Now, looking at Heroic Strike, we have similar silly things to worry about. This idea of using it when you're capped on rage, if you do this, it's going to hurt your consumed by rage uptime. Right now, we're at 90%. I bet you we can get that up. Let's see. So maybe instead of using this at the cap, the way we can handle it is I'll put Heroic Strike and Hamstring into a macro. All right? And then I'll hit that macro instead of just spamming hamstring when I notice I'm above 80 rage. So if you're under 80 rage, you're hitting hamstring. And if you're over it, you switch your finger over one to queue up a heroic strike and a hamstring. So let's see, by using a macro and hitting less buttons, you will actually enhance your DPS quite a lot. There's no logic with how you need to use Overpower or Raging Blow. You just use them whenever they're available, which is probably what you're already doing. So well done on that. There are some other things that you really need to check on with your raids, though. Now, let's see. This rotation is not perfectly optimized, but it's working pretty good. We have higher DPS than before and higher consumed by rage uptime than ever, but we can get it up a little higher. Right now, it's 94.73 for your consumed by rage uptime. What will happen if we start the fight with rage? I know this will be hard for you to pull off because your teammates probably want to face pull the boss and screw you. But let's see. When you add an extra 79 rage at the start, you're going to be able to instantly proc consumed by rage because we're using a rage potion and blood rage. Let's see, how did that impact the uptime? Wow, so we went from 95 to about 98.5% uptime on consumed by rage by having a little more rage at the start. And that doesn't even account for how much easier it is to focus on your rotation when you know that you're going to start the fight with all your effects up. So my suggestion to you is really simple. Have a macro that does heroic strike and hamstring. Put it next to your hamstring button. And when you notice that you're over 80 rage, instead of hitting hamstring mindlessly, you hit the hamstring plus heroic strike mindlessly. See if this improves your DPS. Or if you have a whole lot of brain cells, another thing you can do is bind cleave. Cleave costs almost double the rage of heroic strike, so it's incredibly likely to put you under 80 rage. But just be careful with that. It does hit for 40 less, and adding an extra button could overwhelm you.